Mr. Johnny Moore, thank you for joining us. In recent weeks, Hamas and the United Nations have been running an aggressive media campaign about a so-called famine in Gaza. Can you describe how these situations look through your eyes?
First of all, there is profound hunger in Gaza. I mean, that's why we're there. That has been our mission. We've delivered soon, we'll surpass 100 million meals of food directly to the people of Gaza, and they needed that food. And we've said at the very beginning that we couldn't do it alone, and so we were appealing to the international organizations to join us. On the same token, it is also the case that the United Nations has been whether it's willful or not, they have been a participant in a series of propaganda and disinformation campaigns that has in effect made them a press secretary for Hamas and has basically put them on the Hamas side of the negotiating table in the ceasefire negotiations. I mean, these two things are true both at the same time.
You have claimed that the United Nations conduct is driven by political considerations. Can you explain it?
It's my theory, but it's a working theory based upon a lot of experience. I mean, how could you have 1,000 trucks nearly of food sitting on inside the Gaza Strip that you refuse to deliver while simultaneously using every single available means you have, either through communications or through public relations or through your political allies or political will to promote that there isn't enough food in the Gaza Strip? Like, how can you square these things? And so much so that I wrote in the Wall Street Journal last week that if the United Nations wasn't going to deliver the food they had sitting into the Gaza Strip, then we would just do it for them. In fact, I even took it further. I actually asked one of the State Department officials to have a lawyer study that if the United Nations wasn't going to deliver their food, if we could just go take it and deliver it, because the people of Gaza needed it. And so, yeah, I think it's true. I think we have a lot of people that say that they're humanitarians sitting in suits and ties in Geneva and New York City, but they're not humanitarians at all. They're politicians serving a different agenda.
Isn't possible that the mission is simply too big for your organization and that Israel has no choice but to step in and join the humanitarian effort?
From the very beginning, I mean, we were clear at GHF that we couldn't do this alone. We needed to work with other organizations in order to meet the needs in the Gaza Strip. We do not exist to replace the aid system in the Gaza Strip, to replace other organizations.
Okay, but when we see violent scenes, looting, staff resignation, isn't it possible that while your intentions are noble, your efforts have failed?
Of course it hasn't failed. Like, how could you say that delivering 100 million meals of food directly to the people of Gaza, thousands of truckloads of food, not a single truck intercepted or diverted? I mean, I was reviewing before this interview, which we posted, by the way, at GHF Updates on our X page. I was revealing publicly available data about the interception of UN food convoys over the last year or so. 90% of the World Food Program food convoys didn't make it to their final destination. We exist to solve one problem. On May 5th, the President of the United States and the White House said that he was angry that the people of Gaza's food was being stolen by Hamas, and the United States was going to do something about it.
Yes, but the big question is if you can define your activity as a big success.
Of course it's a success. I mean, none of our food has been diverted by Hamas. We fed millions and millions of meals to the people of Gaza. And moreover, Maggie, like, our beneficiaries, okay, the recipients of our aid, we have served at least 800,000 people in the Gaza Strip over the course of our operation. And that's the conservative number. It may be closer to 1 million people. So we have, in just a few short weeks over the course of 2 wars, provided life-saving food to half of the people in the Gaza Strip. In an objective world, if we weren't talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or fighting UN corruption, I mean, this would be celebrated from beginning to end as an unbelievable feat over a very, very short period of time to help people who were really, really desperately in need. Is it perfect? It's far from perfect. We say that every day. We're adjusting in every day, in every direction. we're not operating in a ceasefire. We're operating in an active war zone. It's the most complex environment in the world. And if you question our operation, like, you know, the UN says that we don't meet standards and that we're not professional and all this stuff. It's a bunch of nonsense. They're lying. Just look at their operation in front of our eyes right now.
How can you know that there are not Hamas people with the civilian populations that comes to you for your aid?
Our operation exists to stop the mass diversion of aid. So when you see these large convoys of trucks that are immediately taken over by armed actors, by Hamas itself, or groups affiliated with Hamas, that's the problem that we were designed to solve. Now, until there is more stability in the Gaza Strip, until the food insecurity issue becomes less of an issue, you know, no organization, and especially not the United Nations, who doesn't even try to solve this problem. Okay, the difference between us and these existing agencies is they don't even try to solve the problem. But what we can say, what we can guarantee is that we've proven it's possible to deliver millions and millions and millions and millions of meals of food without the food being diverted in mass, stolen. That's what it is. Diverted is a fancy legal term. It just means stolen. Hamas steals the aid and they use it for nefarious purposes.
Don't you think, Mr. Johnny Moore, that these Israeli steps provide oxygen to Hamas?
I'm not going to get into Israeli policy, but I have profound concerns that we have shined a very, very bright light on a very, very broken humanitarian system. And this humanitarian system this isn't just a Gaza thing. Now, as the president of the United States said today and yesterday, we have to do more to feed these people. And despite all of our disagreements with the United Nations, a day doesn't go by where we don't ask them to sit at the table with us to work together, because we have proven that we can solve their biggest problem. They're not interested in solving.
So why haven't more distribution centers been opened behind the original 4?
I mean, the plan has always been to go from 4 to 8 sites. We also now have a very successful community distribution arm that's taking aid directly to beneficiaries in the center and also in the north of Gaza. But as quickly as we started operating, the leaders of the United Nations used all their political power around the world to make sure that it was impossible for us to expand. Our issue of not expanding into more parts of the Gaza Strip was not an issue with the state of Israel. Our issue of not being able to expand in greater parts of the Gaza Strip was intentional policy of the United Nations, that at one side of their mouth were saying they care about the people of Gaza, and the other side of their mouth they were saying not at the cost of having any competition whatsoever when it comes to helping them. It's corruption.
Mr. Johnny Moore, thank you for this interview.
Thanks for having me, Mac.